And this is Dave Kyle from Kyle's Wood Touch Up and Repair. I'm just going to demonstrate a little filling technique that you do when in veneer work to hide your seams and blend them all in so everything turns out perfect. It also includes your edge tape to your main face. So what I do is I get some tape and go on the one side like this, just on the edge, just where the little tiny crevices go down, and I just leave a little hair of a space more. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to mask this side now. Trying to work in long strokes. It's a little bit faster and efficient. You don't want to. You want to cover the crevices. You don't want to cover the grain of the veneer. In this case, I'm working on a job right now. It's a 8-foot by 8-foot floating pantry, and it's all horizontal grain match. And actually, when you look at it, the horizontal grain flows right through from one side to the other, and that's floating from the baseboard to the ceiling. And this is one of those jobs that, catch a contractor. The previous contractor did a really bad butchery job. Yeah, I'll have more on that when I get closer to finishing the job. I'll get everything illustrated on video and pictorial, and basically of how I did this job and what they actually went through and what they had. So I finished off this one piece. This is actually the end gate panel of what I was talking about. So this is a filling technique that I kind of unorthodoxly through 30 years experience kind of honed in. This type of wood putty is air dry, so you got to keep it covered. So as you see here, I got some on a big glob on my finger. I'm going to just peel that off on the end there. Make sure I'm at the very end. Use my fingers as a guide. I'm going to make a little pyramid right on that 45. And this is an 8-foot length, people. So, and I'm going to have to run out here. And get a little bit more. Get another glob. Like that. Finish it going on it again. Right down to the end. Now I'm going to get my finger and I'm going to push it into those little pits and that's right on that corner edge.
So why are you pushing it into the pits itself?
Well, if you don't, when you go sand it out, some of those pits might actually fall out and you'll have little pits still. The putty will fall out if it's not perfectly pushed in. And this is just a sure way to do it.
So why are you going over it a second time, Dave?
Well, to create that pyramid again and give myself another, because we went this direction the first time. Now I'm going to push it in this direction. Okay. And keep it in mind, we've been about a minute's time. So it's not really taking that long to do an 8-foot strip. While you get other people get a putty knife and go do. Takes them forever and they miss it. So this is just through 30 years of evolution here. And you want to create that peak again, because when the pits dry, when the putty dries, the pits are going to want to soak it in and they're going to want to shrink. So that if you create that peak again, right at the 45, then when it shrinks, it will I had to do that part, I forgot about that. But anyways, it's going to give it that shrinkage space.
So I see that you're taking the tape off right away. Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, so that if you don't do that, you have a probability of somehow it could pull out your putty. So if you see, it's right on that 45. You're recreating that 90 degree. And then when it shrinks down, it's going to have still enough putty on there. So when you do your block sand, in this case, especially on the horizontal grain, because I have to go with the grain. So I'm going to have to make sure that it's all nice and evenly sanded. And when I do that, I'm creating that 90 degree. And then when I do more orbital sanding on this face, it's going to create a 90 degree. Then you're going to see later on, I'm going to sand it down, and it's perfect every time. Every time I'll show you this technique of sanding this down, and you can take this to every door, every drawer front, every piece of cabinet making that you can think of. It all works out the same. So yeah, stay tuned.
Okay, thanks, Dave.